Hello everyone and welcome to the Midday Brief. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amana. Over the next 60 minutes, here are some stories to expect. Now, victims of Kumasi Market fire count their losses as fire service begins investigations to unravel the cause of the inferno. Energy Commission will be speaking to us about its guidelines launched to ensure proper installation of electrical wires for every purpose. Authorities at the Wager Dam have begun spilling excess water from the dam, beginning with the opening of 2 spillways. Of these stories and many more, including stories from the Global Front, wellness tips, showbiz brief, sports, and many more when I return. Victims of the Kumasi Central Market fire are counting their losses after the inferno was brought under control by firemen. The traders say they could have salvaged some of their properties if security personnel had allowed them enter the market at the time of the fire. Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
This was how the raging fire razed down part of the Kumasi Central Market. Several shops were completely burnt. Second-hand clothes, utensils, among others, worth thousands of Ghana cedis were also burnt. Affected traders were captured on camera, sorting out property that was not completely burnt to prepare for sale on the next market day. Grace is one of 100 traders who thought they could have salvaged some property at the time of the fire if the security personnel had allowed them entry to the fire scene. But the police action was to prevent looters from getting to the fire scene. Victims of the fire are appealing to government to help them financially to re-establish their business.
Now, Joy News Ashanti regional correspondent Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin joins us on the phone line with updates on the fire. Hello, Mohammed.
Hello, Kemini.
Now, has the American investigating team arrived in the Ashanti region yet?
They have arrived and they have demarcated some areas that and has appealed to the traders not to tamper with those areas, so that it will make the investigation very easy for them. As I'm speaking now, earlier traders were demonstrating, but as I'm speaking now, calm has returned here, and then most of them are in preparing to raise up their shops. But authorities are telling them not to do it now until the investigation is done. Earlier, I spoke with the national chairman of Ghana Youth Clothing Dealers Association, and Kofi Sapon, and he is telling us that if the government is going to construct the whole market, they have no problem, but they cannot use this particular place, which doesn't even belong, which was given to them by the railways as an scapegoat. So they cannot use this particular place to begin with the construction of the market. What they would have agree with them is if they are to construct the whole market they would have no problem with that. But they should communicate with them. They should always interact with them. He was telling us that the authorities have not been communicating with them, so they don't know what is going on now. So they are also appealing to the authorities to interact with them and let them know what is going on.
How have they reacted so far? Besides the demonstration, have they heeded to the directive that they should not enter the market so that investigations are not mad?
There were some areas that they demarcated and asked them not to tamper with, but most of them have done that. They have tampered with those. But there's one particular area here. I think one manager came and made an announcement that nobody should tamper with that particular area. It has been demarcated, and that they would use that place for the investigation, so nobody should tamper with that. For the entering of the market, most of them are in now. Some are clearing the debris, whilst others are digging holes to raise their shops. They are saying they would have to do it now to start business because that is what they use for their livelihood. So that is what they are saying here. And
Kamini,
right. The investigators those from America, we have John Allen. He's an electrical engineer with the fire investigation team from US, and another lady called Teresa Meza. He's also a fire investigator. The acting chief fire officer, Brigadier John Bosco and John Bosco Kuiri, also appealed to the market women or the traders to preserve the area that has been demarcated for the investigation.
Right. Now, here in Accra, when Kantamanto also caught fire, traders decided to take to the streets to sell. Tell me about the Kumasi Central Market. Is business ongoing somehow?
Yeah, for the affected traders, they are in clearing the debris, but those who are not affected, just part of them close to them are conducting their business. But for the demonstration, they are saying if the authorities do not allow them to raise the buildings, their shops now, they will go on demonstration. And earlier, one woman naked herself, and she was protected by a colleague in the market. So they would be going demonstration. They will be going on demonstration if authorities do not allow them to raise their shops now.
And what is the KMA saying about this?
The KMA are not speaking for now. They are not speaking to the media. They are not speaking to the media. So we don't know what they are doing about it. But then the regional coordinating council, I'm told they will be meeting later today to discuss issues about the market.
And I'm sure in subsequent bulletins we'll call you for updates on that regional coordinating council meeting. Thank you very much, Nuruddin, for your time. Now let's move on. Barely 2 weeks ago, President Mahama, in sympathizing with victims of the Makola No. 2 market fire, means no worse that if the recent rampant fires were the works of arsonists, they will not be spared when caught. Let's take a listen.
Makola No. 2 Efanso Ashe na emfe ashishe ekosono enye mienu ipe Dome Eshe sa Dome market Kantamanto Eshe sa Agogolo Shedia Ashe empre mienu nyina na Sodom and Gomorrah so Ashe na yempese beka se nipa bi no mo ahye da ehye say day. So we share the way our AC cost na so we nipa wadu mu do out me who say bibi wom na apa say bia nipa bia omo pese nipa bufu President Mahama ne na ban na omo ahye da ehye sa nyoma yi ana na nyameka ne say aban ebeye ne beye bia se na beye aseye nipa na ahye da ehye sa nyoma ya yɛbɛkye ɔmo ne atwe ɔmo aso no mo ehu sɛ aban ɛwɔ hɔ yɛdwa no sɛ na esi tie no ɛyɛ asan nneɛma yi nso si a fire service enya kwan nwura mu ntumi ndum dwa no ne adeade nti sɛ ba sɛ yɛsan besi dwa no a ɛwɔ sɛ yɛsi ne sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ a sɛ saa atɔrenkyɛmi ɛto ya fire service fo bo a ɔmo nso wɔn benya kwan etumi awura mu na electrical sɛ ɛwɔ hɔ no ɛwɔ sɛ yɛyɛ ne yie sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ a ntumi nka sɛ electricity nti ɛna ɛhyɛ yɛ nti me ne chief of staff and the minister of finance akasa sɛ ɔmo a ɔmo ahwere ɔmo nneɛma nyinaa ɔmo register mo na animanim yɛ a yɛmpɛ bibi kakra ɛma mo na montimi market association mpanyinfoɔ ɛbɛtena ase na yɛ register mo nyinaa a ɛkyɛ sɛ mo nneɛma asɛe no na bibi kakra a ban betumi de aboa ama mo etumi de ahwɛ mo mma for the meantime no yɛbɛpɛ kakra bi ama mo na ɛno akyire no yɛka kyerɛ maslock mpanyinfoɔ sɛ ɔmo mpɛ bosua bi ɛma ɔmo a ɔmo nneɛma no ahye no sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ a mobɛtumi agyina mo anan so biom nti ɛno nso yɛbɛyɛ ɛho nhyehyɛ na yɛama mo aso ate ɛnso yɛne Accra Metropolitan Authority and Market Association ɛbɛka makala number 2 deɛ na baby ɛhyɛ first no na yɛyɛ adwene sɛ yɛsan bɛsi hɔ foforɔ nti yɛbɛyɛ ɛno ntɛm sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ a yɛbɛsi no na mo a mo ha ahye no mo nyinaa mo akɔhyɛ hɔ na yɛato yɛbo na ɛha yɛsiesie baby ahye no na yɛ fire service for ɔmo ayɛ nhwehwɛm ɔmo ahu baby a egya no ɛhyɛ ase ɛnso America man ɔmo so ɔmo suma nkurɔfoɔ bi abɛboa yɛ abɛhwɛ nneɛma egya no hyehye enti yɛbɛsrɛ mo yɛmpɛ sɛ nkurɔfoɔ bɛkɔ akɔyɛ hɔ basabasa na nneɛma a ɛhyeyɛ no na yɛasɛe hɔ na ɛkyerɛ sɛ nkurɔfoɔ nso ɛbɛhwɛ a ɔmo hu nea ɛbaeɛ enti ɔmo a mo store sanhye no yɛbɛma mo awura hɔ akɔhwɛ na baabi ahye no yɛbɛgya hɔ kakra ɛnkyɛ bia bɛyɛ da mmienu aborɔfo no bɛba ɔmo nso abɛhwɛ nti nea ɔmo bɛhu no yɛbɛfa no ne yɛso yɛ fire service foɔ ne ahwɛ na yɛhu sɛ obi na ahyɛ da ɛhye edwa no anaa sɛ ɛyɛ by mistake ɛyɛ accidental nti ɛno nso mɛsrɛ mo na moanya abotrɛ na yɛdi sɛ adwuma no nyame nkyekyere mo werɛ na nea aban bɛtumi etumi aboa mehyɛ mo bɔn so yɛso yɛbɛyɛ yɛ kakra yɛbɛyɛ a mobɛtumi ahwɛ mo ho ne mo ma meda mo ase.
So I have two gentlemen in the studio to join in the conversation as far as fires are concerned. I have Nana Amo Amre here. Ano Amre here. He is a fire safety
Executive Director of Safety Ghana.
Right, Executive Director of Safety Ghana. Thank you very much. We also have Joseph Walker. He is with the Electrical Contractors Association. Now, Nana, let me start with you. We heard the president. Critically, the president has been assuring that if the many fires is as a result of an arsonist's work, he would bring that person to book. What do you make of the statement?
Well, from where the president sits, I do not really want to contradict what the president is saying, because he has the intelligence agencies briefing him on a daily basis what goes on in this country. Whilst we are sleeping, the intelligence agencies are working. So if they go to brief the president, for him to come out with such a profound statement, who am I to contradict the president? So we'll wait and see. We all welcome that we have sought help from the Americans. They have all the wherewithal in terms of scientific fire investigations. So we'll wait and see. And luckily, before you go to my colleague, luckily we have a fire incident in Kumasi. So now, if the police can actually get the team, or not the government can get a team to go to Kumasi, because it's now fresh. The evidence has not been tampered with, so they'll go there and look at it and come out with a conclusive, scientific-based investigation for the whole country to know whether it will vindicate the president that he thinks is the work of arsonists or it's an accidental fire. We're yet to know.
We'll come back to you, and then we'll talk about if we could call it now is a nationwide fire situation where we'll find out what's wrong with the country at the moment. But let me just inform our viewers. The government says it holds on to its position that recent fire outbreaks in the country are not just ordinary fires. Now, Deputy Information Minister Murtala Mohammed says it is becoming clear that it goes beyond the ordinary. Now, there were about 4 different fire outbreaks over the weekend in Kumasi and in Accra, which claimed some lives and properties worth millions of cedis. Now, addressing the daily briefing at the presidency this morning, Murtala Mohammed said those who insulted the president for suggesting a possible arson case may be changing their minds, especially looking at the trend of the outbreaks. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed says government will be catering for fire victims in Kumasi as it is being done for their counterparts here in Accra. The Deputy Information Minister also noted that more team members of the U.S. investigators will come in to help unravel the fire outbreaks. Murtala Mohammed says government is paying nothing for their services. No, like you were saying, the president may have some sort of intelligence, and is the reason he's probably saying this could be works of an arsonist, or this could be described as arson. But what is wrong with us?
There's a lot wrong with us. We have had fires, and very notable ones. There are a year we've had over 166 fires, but to count even the notable ones, there weren't too many. We've had the President Rawlings' house got burnt. We had the whole foreign office was gutted down by fire, the Tema oil refinery.
Yes.
You can go on and on
Tema
and on
BBC.
And on. You see, for me, I would not, as I said earlier, we want to contradict the president because he knows what I don't know. But until we have a conclusive scientific investigation to arrive at what is causing the fires, whatever that we're saying, we sit in our armchairs and say, oh, it could be a work of the rodents, it could be this, it could be that. It's all conjecture. We put suppositions on them, but from safety point of view, to unravel all these, you need to put a team together who knows what they are doing, and to gather the evidence, empirical data evidence, interview witnesses, look at the fire patterns, do so many things, and then set up a hypothesis to know that could it be this? What is the source of what is the ignition source? Because fire, mind you, we live with fire. Fire is a servant, it's not a master. So we use fire in our everyday life. But to cause fire, you need to bring 3 things together. You need the ignition source, you need fuel, you need oxygen. Then you do what they call the fire triangle. When these things are brought together in an uninhibited chemical chain reaction, then you have fire.
Now we'll talk about how we can make, while we wait for the outcome of the investigation, we'll talk about how we as a people, as individuals, as businesses can make our environs very safe for us. But let me just inform our viewers that Victor OWUSU is with the Energy Commission. Now, if you remember, the Energy Commission launched a guideline as far as electrical installations is concerned. I'd like to welcome him and introduce him to the conversation. Hello, Victor.
Hi.
Right. I'll have you hold the line while I talk to Walker. And I'm sure you have. I saw you shake your head when I spoke about the electrical installation. I'm sure you have seen the guideline. What do you make of it?
The guidelines has come in at the appropriate time to help us to regulate the electricians in the general domain. And that has given us opportunity to find out who is an electrical contractor and who is not.
Absolutely. But there is an important soundbite I would want my viewers at home to listen to, in case you haven't been privy to what the guideline contains. Take a listen to this.
Well, the new guidelines prescribes the way one can get certified and perform electrical wiring in Ghana. Without being certified, one cannot perform wiring. The certification process involves somebody studying, passing a written examination, a practical examination which will involve actual wiring, and then an oral examination which is an interview. Once you pass these examinations, you are issued with a certificate, an identity card, and a seal, a professional seal, which you will use to stamp every wiring job that you do and provide a drawing of the wiring that you have done. And you have to attach these two documents to the application for connection before the electricity company will connect it to the grid.
Right, so that was the executive director of the Energy Commission. Now he was given us, he was paraphrasing what the guidelines was made for. Now you mentioned that it would differentiate who is an electrician, or was that the word you used, yes, and who isn't.
Yes.
But let me, honestly, how many of your members would pass this test?
Most of them who pass it because they've been existing and they've been wiring. We have been regulating them since we have an association. Before then, there wasn't any backing that we could regulate them. But now, with these guidelines, we'll be able to regulate them. And those who are freedom, they say they have freedom of association, and they didn't want to join the association. They will now come into the association. We have so many seminars that has been going on frequently, and they are not in the mood of coming to learn. And these are some of the things we need people to know. That before you become an electrical contractor, you need to be certified. You need to have a training.
Right.
So that has been our focus. So we are saying that everybody should come so that we have them. And the permit that we're going to give them, that is an ID. People over there doesn't know that he need to examine somebody to do a wiring for him, or he has to have an ID for somebody who is an electrician before he gives it.
Can you blame that person? I had no idea that I needed someone with a certificate to come to my house to wire my room.
It has been existing. It's just like you buying your vehicle. Can you drive if you don't know the driving aspect? You need to have a license. You need to have a license yourself because you own your car, but then it doesn't permit you to drive. That isn't the way we should go in this country. We should have a certified person before he does the right thing.
Right.
So those are the things we are talking, or we are saying that people should be very focused and be alert to.
Absolutely. Now let me quickly go to the telephone line where Victor OWUSU, I told you earlier, he's public relations person of the Energy Commission. Now Victor, the regulations, I'm actually reading a piece from your website. The regulations require that the Energy Commission issues guidelines for the certification of electricians within 6 months after commencement of these regulations, and this started sometime in February 2012. Why did it have to take you this long?
Thank you very much. You see, the law itself, the parent law, the electrical wiring regulations was passed in 2011, actually. And in fulfillment of that law, the law required that 6 months after coming into force of that particular parent law, the Energy Commission is required to come out with a guideline for certification of electrical practitioners. And in doing so, we have to engage the stakeholders. That electrical contractor association, the Ghana Institute of Engineers, and the GES, and a wide range of stakeholders. So the consultation actually took some time before we actually realized the guidelines. So that's the explanation that I can offer you as why you think that there was that kind of long law in coming out with the guidelines. But actually, the law did say that 6 months to come into force, and like the law actually did come into force in 2011 actually. And so 6 months, I think that it is quite within range.
Right, and how critical is the guideline you have launched to curb indiscriminate fires?
It's very critical because guidelines for the certification seeks to inject a sense of professionalism into the business of the electrical contractors. Now we see not even electrical contractors, but electrical wiring practitioners. Right. So the law is not just meant for one segment of people who constitute the Ghana Electrical Contractors Association, but to cover everybody who is involved in electrical installation and wiring.
Right.
And if you take note, some of these people might not necessarily belong to that situation, but the law takes care of all those kind of people. So
right.
It's very, very critical because it is intended to ensure that there is professionalism in it and that people who engage in electrical business give a sense of professionalism to ensure that lives and property are protected.
Nana, right. Victor, I'm going to have you hold the line while I talk to Nana Ano-Amri here. You had the guidelines, paraphrasing it, you'd need to go through some testing. Is that a safety measure enough?
Well, it's a start. I wouldn't condemn it. But you see, Ghana, we don't really respect expertise. And we like cutting corners. And that is the bane of, and that's the root cause of our problems. Now, you know, you have an architect who, if you go to, he will make sure that you conform to the building regulations and all that. But invariably, we don't go to the architect for him to design our homes. We go to an, what do you call it, a mason or a draftsman. And what does a draftsman know? He is a technician. But the architect has been trained to know how your house should function and flow properly for your comfort. But he would not do that. So it's all good to have all these regulations and all that in place. But compliance, would the people comply? They wouldn't. And that has been our problem. I mean, the safety measures. I mean, when you have a market which is regulated by the district assembly, there have to be a safety audit, fire safety audit, electrical audit, and all those audits to make sure that before they certify or they give occupancy certificate for the facility to be used by the general public, there have to be a fire certificate. Look around. Today we are talking about the markets. Then it will shift from one pillar to the next post.
Right.
Then we'll move on, and then now, you know, Malcolm disaster is now a thing of the past. It has been a 9-day wonder. The president said that we're going to have the culprits chased and found and punished. How many months down the road? Have you heard anything? I may ask. So we say the right things. It's good on paper, but when it comes to compliance, it's non-existent. And that is what is causing all these problems. You know, when the whole first gentleman of the land and the commander-in-chief came out saying that he suspects the fire has been one too many, so he thinks that it could be. He was not categorical that it was an arsonist work, but he said it could be. Now, what would the intelligence agencies or the security agencies, what would they do? They will be on red alert to make sure that those people who are perpetrating those criminal activities will be brought to book as we speak. Now, the president spoke about 2 weeks ago. The last week, there has been a flurry of fire incidents all over. 4. Even over the weekend. 4 of them, with even casualties, fatalities. So, what is the intelligence services and the security services? What are they doing? So, if they really can nab this so-called, there has been a cell of arsonists in this country, and the intelligence services are out of their wits' end, and they cannot find these people, then God bless Ghana. God save Ghana.
Absolutely. At this point, I also think we need some saving. But let's talk about the guidelines again. It's a start, like Nana Ano said. But how would it change the face of your business as an electrical contractor?
It's going to apprehend those who have the competency and then the certification to wire a premises. So now we're going to have a team from both electrical contractors and as well as an individual and then the police. So if I see you working in any industry or any the premises or wherever, you need to apprehend the person.
Right.
So we're giving that freedom.
My worry is I could be certified, yet I'll use inferior plaques. I'll use inferior switches, inferior wiring materials. How do you check that?
I will, because there's a CWIP on the regulation that has been passed. They have an examiner. While doing the wiring, there are people who also go around. They call them inspectors. They also come around the system.
I have not seen any of them at work
We
before.
are now starting it. It's just a start. So we're getting somewhere. Since we are now
you'd like to say something?
You see, the problem is with the ports. All these plugs, inferior quality goods, are not made in Ghana. We have agencies who should make sure that these inferior goods do not see the shores of Ghana.
Yeah.
Yet, as a country, we have reduced ourselves for inferior goods to be dumped on us from China. So when you have a plug, that when you put a plug on a kettle,
right.
When you put it in the socket, it starts melting.
Right. And you have some
yes, I have them.
These are supposed to be the inferior ones.
They are not, but their own ones has been existing in some.
I can say 90% of the, or 99%.
In my house, I think all of them look like this.
And then it's safe. It's not safe for you.
It's not.
Yes, you look behind it. You look how the rust has come behind it, and they are not connected to the system itself. So when it goes off any camera, the flashes also account.
It generates. You see, it generates
fire.
So
those are the things. You look at the loose that this plug has. It's just like putting them from your iron to this one, and then you have a problem removing it.
And so, which is the right one?
We have the right ones. They've been sold in town. We're talking about renovation as well. You see, this has been hung in the building, which you cannot identify what goes on within the behind it. So if you don't check, you don't do auditing, they are all dangerous for your life.
I'm not sure I can check as an ordinary
yes,
person.
You wouldn't. You see, there used to be a plug called, I'm not trying to advertise a company, called MK plugs.
Yes.
Made in the UK. Everybody in the electrical industry know MK plugs. They're well insulated. You can see they're durable. If you drop it, it will not disintegrate. Now, what do you have on the market? Last time I went looking for a plug that will meet the standards. I looked the whole of Makola, I couldn't find one. All that is available in the market is this inferior Chinese ones that you drop it at your arm's length, it will disintegrate. And you know, for experience, when you put it in the socket and you have this low
fluctuation in power,
low power voltage, our power is supposed to be operating on the current of 220, 240.
Right.
Now, when this doom-so phenomenon that you have, when the power goes off and it's coming back again, you have a low voltage, and you hardly get even 150.
Sometimes.
You barely get 150, and then when the socket, the plug is in the socket and has not been removed, you see the energy, like kettle, it draws a lot of energy. So because the voltage is too low and it's struggling, then the plug starts melting.
Now, we'll come to what people should do in their homes to avoid a situation like that. But if Victor is still on the telephone line, it brings me to the question of education. Indeed, the regulations stipulate that the commission is supposed to educate people on it. How far has the commission gone with this? Hello, Victor.
Hi.
Well, I'm asking, your regulations, you're supposed to go out there, educate the everyday person who cannot, on the surface, tell a fake switch from the other. How far have you gone with that?
With the education?
Yes.
Yeah, together with the Ghana Electrical Contractors Association, we are organizing a series of meetings with them throughout the regions. And indeed, in the latter part of the month, sometime in the 24th of June, you will be in the Upper West, then move on to Upper East, come to Tamale, touch Brahafo, then come to Kumasi.
Right.
Then later on, in the course of the first week in July, we tackle the rest of the southern portions of the country, namely Eastern, Western, Central, and then the water region. To have an interaction with the Electrical Contractors Association, students of the various polytechnics who are pursuing electrical engineering in their various polytechnics, and then anybody who is one way or the other connected with electrical wiring or insulation. But let me. As I kept listening to the
please go ahead quickly. I'm running out of time.
Okay. Yeah, you're talking about implementation. Yeah, we have come out with a regulation. In some aspects of the regulation, where it requires, for example, material that will be used in electrical wiring, that is within the domain of the Ghana Standard Authority. Yes. You see, but we collaborate with all of them. There are various stakeholders. There's a need for a coordinated collaboration to ensure the implementation of the provisions of the regulations.
Right. Thank you very much, Victor OWUSU. I think I'm going to let you off the line at this point and then wrap it up in the studio. Nana, in a few words, what would you say to the everyday Ghanaian?
No, we must really bring safety to the doorstep of every Ghanaian and make sure that we owe it to ourselves to make sure that we do things in a safe manner to avoid some of these unnecessary mishaps or calamities that bedevil us on a daily basis. So think about safety, make sure that you do the right thing, and I mean, not so many words. The responsibility is not government that should come and take care of you in your own home. Do the right thing and we'll all be safe. Absolutely.
And for you, what would you say? I mean, where would I even find a certified electrician?
There are so many around everywhere. We have an association office in Accra.
Right.
And we are even meeting all of them on the 19th at the Marble House. That is our office. You see, we have reliable switches that cannot be tripped off, and that causes the fire. These switches, you see it as a main switch. It trips off. When it trips off, if there is a fire in the system, it trips off. And those are the very good ones that you need to do. So you need to get a competent person.
Would have to wrap it up here.
Do you have a fire extinguisher in your home?
He doesn't know.
Do you have a fire extinguisher?
No, let's wrap it up. We'll talk after the midday brief. But thank you, gentlemen, for your time here. We've been talking to Nana Ano Amri. He's Executive Director of Safety Ghana. And then Joseph Walker is the president of the Ghana Electrical Contractors Association. You're watching the Midday Brief. When I return, there's more news. Welcome back to the Midday Brief. And the Ghana Urban Water Company Limited has begun spilling excess water from the Wager Dam to avoid permanent damage to Accra's only water treatment plant. Now, the company opened two of the spillways on Saturday, June 15, 2013, between 11:30 a.m. and 12 noon, when the water moved from its safe operational level of 47 to 47.7 feet. The Ghana Urban Water Company Limited has 5 spillways and opens them depending on the amount of excess water that has to be spilled. So far, there has not been any flooding as the amount of water spilled was small.
And everything perfectly. Just we are waiting. We are monitoring how the river is coming, because they have just very illiterate. And my monitoring group, they are on the ground monitoring it, communication with me. So as for that matter, we are almost completed the evacuation. We are monitoring whenever it's full up, even if it's night or day. My people, they will go off to the upper land. Where we are, just about 50 meters away, the river defense, there's a breakages there, so we have to free the place at even tonight so that we get safe. Our residents association at Oblogo Newtown, they are working very tirelessly for fueling the machine. They are contributing, giving out a donation to fuel the machine so that that place could be covered immediately.
Meanwhile, staff of the Ghana Urban Water and the Ghana Water Company have given government a 2-week ultimatum to respond to the issue of the merger of the two entities. And because of this, they embarked on a demonstration. Now, my colleague Fosua Jemfi was there, and she's here with me in the studio to tell me exactly what happened when she was there at the venue of the demonstration. Tell us about it.
Okay, Kemini, the demonstration was supposed to take place today. Signals were picked on Friday that workers of the Ghana Urban Water and the Ghana Water Company were going to demonstrate for this measure to take place.
Right.
And then today it was called off. But then when you get to the entrance of the Ghana Urban Water Company, you have a big banner written on it, Merge Ghana Water Company and Ghana Urban Water. Yeah, and you have red bands flying all over the place. But then the deputy minister, the sector minister, water resource works and housing, Samson Ayi, was there in a meeting with the workers to stop the demonstration.
And I'm told you have we have that soundbite. And I think we should just let our viewers take a look at this.
The issue is that we want a merger. There are two companies, you understand, and all of them have a board, all of them have a management team. The workers perceive it as waste. All right, they should merge it. Let's have one company, and we want it as soon as possible. In fact, the government had already told us when he brought in a consultant, they was going to get this measure effected by February. We're in June. We don't see what is going on. It's affecting productivity. It's affecting workers, morale.
We are up to the point of submitting the cabinet memo to cabinet for cabinet to give final approval to it. That has been done already. The cabinet memo is ready. As we speak, it is with the secretary to cabinet, and we are thinking that the next cabinet meeting they will take it up, and once the approval is given, then we'll take it from there. Okay.
Right, and so that was from the venue of the demonstration. But is here with me, and I would want to. Who are those in the first place?
Okay, the first person who spoke is the national divisional chairman of the Workers' Union, Francis Lamte. Yeah, and then some of the issues they raised were that the running of two management, that is the Ghana Water, the Ghana Urban Water, was just duplication, and that the companies didn't have monies to run the company as well, and as such the workers are not able to negotiate for their salaries. And then thirdly, they are owing, they have bills all over their necks, so they would think that when they merge or streamline these activities of these management, the two entities, it would help workers a lot. So
and then we also heard from the deputy minister in the soundbite. Break it down. Exactly what was he saying?
Okay, according to, I'll go back to the national chairman. According to them, this measure was supposed to take place way back 2011, and then the government promised them that it's going to take place this year February, but they've been waiting since February and they haven't heard anything from government. And then the minister, Samson Ayi, explained to them that because of the change of the ministers, formerly it was Alban Babin moved to E.T. Mensah, and now is Collins Dauda. So it looks like that is what has
never happened.
Yeah. But then now the memo is ready for cabinet to approve the measure issue, and so Thursday coming, it's on the agenda of cabinet to meet on this issue, and they are going to deal with it. So he gave them 2 weeks to get back to them. So now the workers are waiting for cabinet to get back to them on the issue to approve the measure.
So we can say they have gone back to their offices to work.
Yeah. Before we left the place, they were in a closed door meeting with the two heads and then
the deputy minister. Right.
So,
thank you very much for the update. Fosua Jemfi is my colleague here at Joy News. And let's move on with the news. Ghana has been honored by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations for achieving internationally established targets in the fight against hunger. Ghana was among 38 countries recognized by the FAO for achieving Millennium Development Goal 1, which aims to halve the proportion of hungry people by 2015. Ghana also met the more stringent World Food Summit goal of halving the absolute number of hungry people also by 2015. At the high-level ceremony which was held at the FAO headquarters in Rome, the Director General of FAO, Jos Graziano da Silva, urged the heads of states present to seize every opportunity in fighting hunger. Meanwhile, President John Mahama says the Agriculture Organization acknowledgement shows the progress Ghana is making towards achieving its goals. Speaking ahead of the ceremony, President Mahama said in 1990, the prevalence of undernourishment in Ghana's population was 34%, and then in 2000, that figure was 11%. 2012, the figure was reduced even further to 5%. He says Ghana's achievements has been the reward of progress and patience over the years. You're still watching the Midday Brief, and African leaders, including Ghana, have vowed at a G8 forum to ensure natural resources in their respective countries are explored for the benefit of their people. Now, the Forum on Trade, Tax and Transparency, hosted by British Prime Minister David Cameron at Lancaster House in London, was the platform for other government, businesses and civil societies to discuss the transparency agenda being set for this year's G8 summit, which begins today in Northern Ireland.
The forum served as a pre-summit for this year's G8 summit. Prime Minister Cameron said some developing countries have had to depend on aid because of mismanagement, which when avoided could have given them what they seek in aid. He said it was imperative for world leaders to participate in the growth of Africa by ensuring that taxes due developing states are paid. President John Mahama was the first to speak after David Cameron. He explained how legislation on tax holidays are abused by multinational companies with registration offshore. President Mahama said all leakages would be blocked. Nonetheless, he was optimistic about Africa's growth.
What has accounted for the explosion of telecommunications and ICT across Africa is the liberalization and deregulation of those sectors. We can do the same in energy. Who says that only the states should own power plants and produce energy? The state cannot raise the investment to put enough energy in the system. Let's deregulate, let the private sector come in on terms that are clear and transparent, and we will see the same revolution in energy. We can do that with roads. We must also look to opening up trade within our countries. It would inure to the benefit of all of us.
Other heads of states, including Guinea and Tanzania, pointed out that lack of expertise in the extractive industries have led to exploitation by these companies, and also declared commitment to transparency in such dealings. Former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan raised concerns about implementations, but the UK Premier noted that the G8 will explore agreements for these countries to sign up, even as they work to ensure that discussions are implemented. The British Prime Minister is asking world leaders to shift their attention from aid to Africa and to focus on helping them attain fairer taxes, greater transparency and more trade. Gifty Ando Apia, Joy News, Lancaster House, London.
Well, from London back home, today at the daily briefing, Deputy Minister of Information Murtala Mohammed has issued a statement from the presidency concerning the case between Waterville and Martin Amidu, in which Martin Amidu won, and Waterville is expected to reimburse the state of some 51 million Ghana cedis, which it collected some years ago in judgment debt. Let's take a listen.
Certainly the Minister of Justice and Attorney General would be informed, and maybe they will be doing, they certainly will be doing some work on it. Until I am briefed as to measures that the ministry is taking, I will not be able to make any comment on it. I can only say that, yes, the government is determined to respect the rule of law, and the government is determined to retrieve any money that, if you like, wrongly paid by the ruling of this court to any individual or group of persons. And indeed, government is in court to retrieve such monies. So what I can say is that, yes, like you said, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, who is the legal advisor of government, will be looking into it, and they would advise government on it. Until such advice is given and the steps they are taking, I can't stand here and tell you that, yes, they have started and this is what they have done. But yes, they will be informed. I believe that the court would have informed them about the ruling officially, and the appropriate steps will be taken to retrieve those monies.
So let's go to DADOME. And the question I'm asking is, what would you do if your 14-year-old daughter gets impregnated by her teacher? Then she is expelled from the school, but the teacher is still at post. Now, this is a story at DADOME Junior High School in the North Tongu district of the Volta region. Sairam Abla de Souza visited the community and has filed this report.
DADOME is a farming community located in the North Tongu district of the Volta region. It has a population of about 2,000. I arrived at the community during school hours, but among the people who welcomed me was Sedinam, a pregnant teenage girl. I gave her a ride just so we could have a talk.
11 of us got pregnant and we were expelled from the school. The teacher who got me pregnant is still teaching. He asked me to abort it, but I refused.
Sedinam alleges her science teacher at DADOME JHS, Toma Nelson, has made her pregnant. She tells me the teacher suggested abortion, to which she refused, hence his denial of the pregnancy. This is Toma Nelson, the teacher who has allegedly impregnated this 14-year-old girl. I had a chat with him.
So that means that there is such a problem.
Oh, no.
And even some of the issues we had was that some of you, the teachers, have impregnated some of the girls.
I'm not the right man to answer that question.
Are you waiting till your name is mentioned before you answer?
Oh, no.
But then, have you impregnated any?
No. No.
As in?
I said no, madam.
The district circuit supervisor, Mr. Lajagla, after over 20 minutes back and forth, decided to grant me an interview on the matter.
Actually, with the teenage pregnancy, I am aware the reports have reached me. I have given a verbal report to the girls' child unit. The allegation that the teachers are impregnating them, this is the first time that I'm hearing it.
Now, would you be surprised if I walk in here with a student, a female student, who got impregnated in this school by a teacher in this school? Would you be surprised?
Well, I'll be surprised.
The Volta Regional Minister, Nilae Afoteagbo, wants the teacher punished if found guilty.
Human beings are human beings, and they are not easy to deal with. So once in a while, or somewhere along the line, you see some other people or human beings behaving like animals. That is why when they are brought to book, or when their activities are unveiled, they must be dealt with.
Until then, the alleged science teacher is still at post.
Now, staying in the basic schools, this year's Basic Education Certificate examination starts today, Monday, June 17, and over 395,000 pupils will be sitting in this year's exam across the country. 391,079 pupils of junior high schools around the country are writing this year's Basic Education Certificate examination this morning. They will write the English Language and Social Studies papers today, starting with English Paper 1 at 9 a.m. Meanwhile, as part of measures to ensure the smooth running of this year's BECE, the West African Examination Council has set up a new depot. The depot is where all the examination papers are kept for onward distribution to the various districts to prevent incidences of delays on the day of the exams. Let's do some international news, and first up, serious conflict is projected to be a priority during the G8 summit, and unions in Turkey are calling for a nationwide strike. Now, wrapping up, Rwanda Air has officially launched its operations in the country with a target of increasing passenger intake by 60% in 6 months. It becomes the third airline from East Africa to operate in Ghana. It has been in the country for only 10 days with a 154-seater Boeing 737-800. Well, that's it. But just before we go, I'd just like to remind you that there's more news on www.myjoyonline.com. Interact with us on our Facebook page and on our Twitter handle. But that's it for this afternoon. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano. Goodbye.